Are you interested in real estate investing but not quite sure where to get started? Do you want to get the know-hows on creating ongoing passive income using the buy and hold strategy? Hi, I'm Janice Bowles, licensed realtor and co-founder of B Premier Ventures, a real estate development and consulting firm where we buy and beautify distressed real estate, renovate it, and resell for profit. With over 15 years of investing experience, B Premier has extensive knowledge in rural land development, fix and flips, and rental acquisitions. B Premier's current portfolio consists of properties within Florida and Virginia. Our firm's services includes investor project consulting, project management, and group coaching. For more information, visit our website at bpremierventures.com and schedule a complimentary discovery session or subscribe to our email list. It's free. Follow me on Instagram at Janice Bowles for additional real estate investing tips. B Premier Ventures, we buy and beautify.
Hey, everybody, welcome to today's episode of Let's Do It Talk Show. It's your girl, Ladrine Howard Peterson, the CEO and founder of Do It, delivering on ideas and thoughts. And you know what I do in a nutshell, right? I help to turn dreamers into doers, and I do it from two aspects. I do it from the aspect of career development, resume writing, interview preparation. You're looking to switch jobs, you got issue on your job, or even help with preparing a promotion package. I am your girl. Then I also do it from a business aspect. If you're looking to start a business, you're looking to expand your business, marketing strategies, or you have some ideas and thoughts and don't know how to bring them into fruition, I am your girl. Here at the Let's Do It Talk Show, we were primarily created for entrepreneurs, right? Quickly realize that the entrepreneur is an entire person. So we talk about faith, we talk about finances, we talk about the future, and we talk about families and relationships. Today is the second Monday of the month, and you know how we do it, right? It is Money Making Monday, and the financial gurus bring all the good information and all the good. So we always bring and shed some light on what's going on in the economical world or the financial world. So today's topic is why the sense of urgency to reopen the schools. So we're going to go through a number of things. We're going to talk about economics, education, efficiency, and existency. So y'all know what I do, right? I talk about my weekend. Normally have a video strolling, but y'all, it was overwhelming. It was a lot going on this weekend, but I got a whole lot done. A lot was focused on business and work. My apples, my grandson called them my apples, came over, braided hair, washed, no, took out braids, washed hair, braided hair. So that's gonna be my routine, keeping all his hair up. But then also, it was 9/11, right? So I did have an opportunity to speak to some folks who were like deeply impacted. All of us were impacted, but I mean personal tragedies and various things that happened to them. So we're going to bring them on the show at a later date, to kind of like talk about their experiences. And one thing for me, I always this date always make me think of my cousin, and she worked at the Pentagon during this time, right? And she was running late for work.
Hmm.
And because she was late for work, she avoided being killed. So, of course, going through the process, it was mad crazy for our family. But also her because the cell phones wasn't working, so we didn't know what was going on, and you sort of like think the worst. But also, just thinking about her over the past 20 years, all the things that she had to go through and live with her office mates no longer being here, people that she know no longer being here. Another man had a similar story of working in the Pentagon with those issues. Another young, it's just so many stories of people that I actually know that were impacted, and it made me remember exactly where I was. So again, I just had to take a moment to pay respect for 9/11, all the victims who lost their lives, all the family members who are still dealing with that tragic loss. So, prayers continuously go up, even though it's 20 years later. Uh, a lot of us still have remembrance of either seeing it on TV or actually being there firsthand to witness some of these things. So, definitely want to say a little bit about that. The only other thing that I'll touch up on is my weight loss. So I'm looking forward to the October 4th episode where my nutritionist will come on and we will share and talk about some different things that she started me on. And also, she's going to provide some information. So I'll be posting prior to that. But October the 4th, mark that on your calendars. So let's jump into the show. Let's jump into the show. So first up with me is my girl Sakajuia Fanning, and she is going to introduce herself. How are you, lady?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I am well.
Good, good. So I am Sakajulia Fanning. I am the founder and CEO of Fanning Financial Group, LLC, where I help people build their blueprint for their financial future. Anyone who needs help when it comes to budget, savings, retirement, just showing some type of putting some type of plan together to improve your finances, let me know. We can have a free consultation. 101 is confidential. And let's see how we can get you back on the right foot financially.
Yes, yes, yes. That's what she do, and that's what she does, and she does it very, very, very well. So, later on, Janice Bowles is going to be joining us. She's out making some money moves, but she will be joining us momentarily. And huge shout out to Shanae Robinson. She comes on. She's a financial guru, and she talks about credit repair. She is in North Dakota celebrating Daquan, her son's 15th birthday. So happy birthday, Daquan and Shanae, girl. You know we miss you. So, Sakajuia, let's jump into this topic, right?
Yes, ma'am.
So, this has been on my mind for a period of time.
Yeah.
Like the whole in preparation of preparing to open up schools.
Mm-hmm.
I personally like had an issue with it. And in all transparency, when I called my daughter and was talking to her the week before school started, and I was like, keep them out of school. Like, don't let them go to school. Like, and we had our conversations. I had this sincere feeling about school starting back. And it wasn't just like weeks starting before. Personally, I didn't think that they were going to allow schools to reopen. I thought it was going to continue virtually.
Yeah.
And then a lot of people that I knew, like their school started like the second week of August on up.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll tell you, it was so many. Every time somebody's child started school, someone would not be at work for 2 days, or something was going on because they would need to be out with their child. Either somebody in the classroom had it, their child got it, or they were in the proximity. And in some cases, the child brought it home and the whole entire family got it.
Oh.
So those things were bothering me like so greatly in terms of the school children. And
Mm-hmm.
I'll say these two things and then please chime in terms of your thought, and let's talk about this. So, one, we already know and we understand that if you're under 12, you cannot be vaccinated. Not saying vaccination is the be all and the do all, right? But that's one factor. Then the second one, I don't even watch the news, but I know that the Delta variant is real.
Mm-hmm.
And I have to say I work for the Food and Drug Administration, so I do also get information through that way. But like, is anybody really paying attention to those things? And so that's why my whole idea and my thinking was around, why are they doing this? What is the sense of urgency? And I put quotations around sense on purpose because it makes no sense to me, but just wanted to kind of like talk. So let's dive into a conversation. So I'll pause and let you speak. What's your take? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, to me, it is. It's kind of crazy because, yeah, with the Delta variant coming into play and picking up and like just rolling through, I still don't understand why some people still think like COVID isn't real. Like if they don't see it and someone's not affected by it around them, it's not real. Come on now. I mean, we got to start using some, like you said, common sense, because now it's like once again the hospitals are being overran with people infected with COVID. Like so much so that they're taking up all the hospital beds, so people who are sick with other illnesses can't come in. So it's like, and now we're picking the kids back in school. Like you said, kids under 12 can't get the vaccination. So it's like it's like Russian roulette. Let's see what's gonna happen. Let's put them in the school and see what's gonna happen, because I think people are trying to push to get back to normal. But the thing about it, we need to be aware and we need to be paying attention and being responsible. If it's not time for kids to go back, it's not time for kids to go back. And it's okay, because unfortunately, this day and time is different, and we need to adjust, and we need to take the precautions, and we need to be mindful of what we need to do to drive down the COVID infection. What are the steps we need to do? If it's letting the kids stay home and doing virtual, then do that. If it's 50-50, do that. But it can't be a be all, let's put everybody back in school, because one of my former coworkers, she just put on Facebook, her kid is out to September 24th because of quarantine. The little girl who literally sits right behind her and who is her lunch buddy is positive, tested positive. So now she's trying to get a test to see whether or not her child has it. So it's like you're saying, I'm hearing from all these people I know. My other friend who's in Florida, her son, who's like 6, became infected because guess what? Can't get the vaccine. So he's infected. They're at home. And then her husband has to take time off because guess what? She's tested positive. So it's like I mean, and it's not like this one story here, one story. It's like story, and it's people that I personally know. So it's like it's not just happening, and it's not just random. This is becoming more and more contagious. That's what with the Delta variant. It's more easily transmissible. So more people are being affected very easily. So it was so funny. I was talking to one of my friends, and they literally, I saw this post online where they showed back in the 1960s when the polio vaccine rolled out, it was a line down the street of parents with their kids waiting to get the vaccine. They're like 19, I think, 50s, 60s compared to now. They're like, come on now. And they eradicated really polio, and they say almost virtually overnight because everyone got the vaccine.
Yeah, and it's so crazy because how you highlighted and you pointed out these are people that we know. Mm-hmm. Imagine the numbers of people that we don't know or that we don't hear about. In addition to the people at work who we will find out because they needed to be out or so because of their school, their children started. Personally, people that I know, like immediately, I started receiving requests of children mm-hmm. who were impacted and who caught COVID from school asking for prayers. So it's just like the whole understanding and trying to figure out this thing that I get it, right? Mm-hmm. Most schools are following CDC's guidances, right? Mm-hmm. They're scientific and don't get me wrong. I'm and by the way, I'm speaking on behalf of Ladrine Peterson as personally, not as an FDA employee.
Yes,
but
our personal opinions.
Yes. CDC set the record and have the outline for the schools to follow. Mm-hmm. The schools who are following it to a T are not using common sense. So here's my thing. I do understand guidance and structure, but then there's also actuality, right? When actuality comes into play, you make a shift and you make an adjustment based on what's going on. What the CDC did was they made their best guess, their best set of guidelines based on what was going on at that given time. And we'll talk about those a little bit along the way. But what I wanted to do is pause since Janice B is in the house to allow her to introduce herself, and then we can jump right back into the dialogue. Hey, lady, how are you?
Hey, can you guys see me? Can you hear me?
Yes, we can see you and we can hear you very well.
Hello, how is everyone?
Good evening. Good.
So
My
do
name
what
is
you do, and do your introduction, and then we'll pick up, and we'll let you know where we are in the show.
okay. Perfect, perfect. Hello, everyone. Good evening. My name is Janice Bowles. I am a real estate investor, a property flipper. I buy rehabs and flip for profit. I also buy land and develop land. The name of my company is The Premier Ventures, where we buy and beautify. And I'm just excited to be here. I was running a little late because I actually drove from Tennessee and I'm now in Augusta because I
Okay.
take on a project tomorrow in South Carolina.
Yeah.
So, my apologies for being late, but I'm just happy to be here tonight.
No problem at all. I told them that you were out balling. No, I'm playing, but I so you were out taking care of some business. But Janet, so Socrates, you and I just started talking about the whole impact of school. So all of our topics really like run together. But I pretty much gave my personal opinion, my overview. She's sharing as well, more so about the young people who are being infected and because of this school thing. So definitely, when you're ready, please jump in terms of your thoughts. But what I wanted to do was I wanted to run off some stats. So I was reviewing information from various websites, and one in particular that really caught my eye. It states that more than 250,000 children had fresh cases of COVID-19 in the last week of August.
Oh my God.
And they pull this information from the American Academy of Pediatrics. And it
Um,
just goes on to show like 2,500 of these children had to be hospitalized due to COVID by the week of September the 6th. Goes on to say the CDC reports also implied that over 55,000 youngsters were hospitalized with COVID through the month of August, and they had no prior medical history. And then the last one for right now, though the deaths to infections are still not rampant, yet approximately 520 children died due to COVID as of Wednesday, which would have been the Wednesday following September, just before September the 10th, so last Wednesday. So
wow.
the numbers are crazy, and I'm like, okay, if we did all of this to open up schools, what is it going to take for you to just stop and say close the school, close the school? So Janice, I'll definitely let you chime in before we get any deeper into this conversation, but we're going to roll all of the topics in together because it pretty much rolls around what is America doing in the
Yeah,
world doing.
exactly. Well, the numbers are continuously, rising. In addition to the numbers that's affecting children with school and whatnot, I mean, the numbers are continuously rising with adults, as we know, and it's showing that the majority, I'm not keen on the actual numbers, the data is definitely showing that the numbers were unvaccinated individuals that are now being hospitalized and they, are high increases of death is because they have not been vaccinated. So when it talks about the children, particularly in my personal opinion, I think that when the pandemic hit, and even prior to the pandemic, there's some online schools or online learning was part of the curriculums. I think in different counties or states to begin with. I feel like the U.S. as a whole should have just basically went to more of a strategy of not so much getting these kids back into school, but
Mhm.
advancing the online learning,
Correct.
coming up with some sort of curriculum or excitement or focus where it can tone and hone in on making learning, educational learning, away from the day to day in school, advantageous for the kids. Because you got to face it, our youngsters, there's no vaccine for them. I'm concerned with the fact of a emergency vaccine, taking place that they're going to be. It's like practice situations, and for our babies, I'm definitely concerned about that. But I do feel for the parents that perhaps have to work, don't have daycare per se for their children. They have basically no alternative but to put them back in school. probably even against their own judgment, but they have to do that because they got to make a living. But I just feel like some sort of way it should have been something whereas it could be continuously online learning, um, and just it'll be better for the children. My heart really goes out.
Mhm.
Yeah, yeah, and I just want to pause. So one of the viewers, Minister Andre Watts, he posted in the comments that he and his wife have COVID right now. So definitely sending prayers up to you as well as your wife. Praying for a speedy recovery and that the symptoms are as least as possible as they can be. And I will connect with you a little bit later offline, but definitely want to send prayers up to you. You always pray for me, always keep me covered. So I got you covered, brother. So Janice, to what you said, that's very good, right? That was very good because there are situations of the world and then there's reality. And reality looks different from for each and every individual. So
Hmm.
the Washington Post shared a story about a lady and her name is Stephanie Thompson.
Mhm.
She was a working parent, and because of all of the issues that were going on in school, she ended up losing her job,
Mm.
which now the the whole process of evicting someone that's been lifted. So she got evicted.
Mm.
So basically, in the surroundings, according to the article, it sounds like they were placed in a shelter. And now her child is having difficulty with online because of the environment and can't learn. So in those situations, like my heart definitely goes out to that family. But and I mean but I would rather see the child alive than see the child having to deal with not knowing on a day-to-day basis and being in the surrounding of COVID-19 and running the risk of getting that. And then what? The mother still is going to have to be home. You know what I mean? So it's
Yeah,
just like,
yeah,
it's just
yeah,
so much going on. And I think as a
yeah.
community, all the money that's being spent on preparing the schools to go back and what have you, and I know I'm only going from the side and the information that I know because I didn't do deep study into, but spend that money on more aid and more other things. I know we thought it was going to be short term, so they were rolling in with those unemployment and doubling and tripling and all of these things, thinking of short
Yeah.
term, not really thinking of it from a long term aspect. So it's so many different aspects to it, and then the kids catching it, coming home and giving it to parents, or just so let me just say this one thing. So how they have them like in clusters, right? So they design them where they're in clusters so they're safe in this cluster, or if somebody gets impacted in this cluster, they get to go home. What if your child just sits up front by the school door, right?
Mhm.
And I don't care what cluster you sit in, you come through the front door, you line up by the front door. So all of these things, I'm just like, I see and I appreciate them trying. If I was like in charge or had any authority, the schools would not have opened up. They just would
Mm-mm,
not have
not at
opened
all.
up. So
Mhm.
yeah.
The impact of the clusters, I mean, that's to me that's ridiculous because our babies, they carry the most germs. We got to practice and
Correct.
continuously put into their heads, keep the mask on, wash your hands frequently, wash your hands, don't touch this, don't touch that.
Mhm.
So there is, to me, I thank God I don't have babies. I have they're adults, but you can't say or isolate and say that they're going to be safe per se in a cluster. It's communicable. It's going to be everywhere.
Right.
So you know, I feel like some kind of way it should have been more advancement, more planning for continuous online until we can get this thing. And this is not something of a short term, a year, whatnot. This is going to be really the reality of our lives for quite a while. I
Mhm.
feel so.
Yeah, I agree with you because people aren't thinking about long term and solutions. And like you said, it's exactly right. Resources should have been put in to seeing what should they get more broadband bandwidth, working
Yeah.
with internet providers, working with the scholastic organizations across the country, coming together and saying, let's focus on seeing what we need to do to better improve the online learning so kids can stay on track. Having that, they were out of school for the summer and everyone just went along their business. To me, it seems we just gonna do regular school like how we used to back in the day. That's it.
Yeah, we forgot about the kids. Yeah, I mean, with all the technology and whatnot, we definitely can come up with some great, fabulous technology for our children.
Yes,
because they're the future.
Yeah, exactly. Right. So,
and CDC's rules, right? The standards and the guidelines. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. So basically, they have this process, right? Where if the kid gets sick or a teacher, then they go out for like in quarantine for 10 days.
Yes.
Then
that's right to my friend. Yes.
And then they come back. And it's this other thing where tests to stay in. I mean, it's all of these various things. And when I went to CDC's website, I was like, all right, let me go. I was like, okay. And it started saying like, wash your hands. And I was just like, they're missing the whole point of, they have like a couple bullets around what happens when the student gets ill or a staff member gets ill. The health officials, then they have this room where if more than one person has it, then they have to be 6 feet apart. Like if you are infected, I'm just not even going to go too far into that. But go look at CDC's guidelines and their information. It really doesn't give schools a main strictness to go on. It pretty much gives them some flexibility. It needs to be straight up across the board. And if you were not ready to give it straight up across the board, advise to keep the schools closed. So this county is doing this, another county is doing this. Some students don't even have to wear masks.
Correct.
So it's just like crazy to me. And I try not to get like all uptight about it, but this one really has me. So although my girls are older, my grandkids aren't. And then that boils it into it. So it is so even crazy that at both of their schools there were cases. So my oldest one is here with his laptop virtually because someone else got impacted, although it wasn't his class or what it was in his class, whatever the ruling is, he is quarantined,
And he was impacted at the school, so yeah, he got a quarantine.
Yes, and the same thing
like close proximity. Yeah.
So it's just like too much going on. I talked to my cousin. Her grandchild got a letter that came home just this morning talking about somebody was impacted. So it's like all of this going on. When is enough enough? Like when is enough enough? And they can't be vaccinated if they're under 12. So come on. It's just like it's a whole lot going on. The other thing, Janet, so when you were bringing up the as we kind of like going into the pros and cons of this, one thing, I truly feel bad for teachers who have school age children, because even during the pandemic, they had to teach their classrooms while also teaching their child or helping their child or assisting them, especially if they were young age. So there's no perfect solution to this, but out of all the things that go on, I go for existency. That's why I added that as the last one. I mean, we're jumping all around, but out of all things, I'd rather for them to live. I'd rather for them to exist than to go through all of these various things, no matter like what it is, from an economic, from all of these stances. And I'm just like, I don't shut the world down, shut it down, and like figure it out from a health thing, because otherwise, even with the medical, all of the other things, people being out there, it's costing more. It's costing more. Let us finish all our ordering on Amazon. Amazon made a killing. Like we Amazon, like we kept the economy going with that. I say that jokingly, but y'all know what I mean. Y'all know what I mean. So anything else y'all want to say, like specifically about the school? And we can definitely circle back. Purposely, I have it where we can just go intertwine, because all of them ends up connecting right back to one another. Anything else right now about the schools?
Mm-mm.
Okay. So let's talk about and Hey Shay, she says, yes, I've been saying that. Like they need to shut the schools. Right? So we all know how everything goes in terms of the world. We
Mhm.
know how money makes the world go round and all of these various things. But some of the things that people are looking to, I think that they are putting economics before life when making decisions. And that goes back to my prior statement. Like life over everything. Like all the other things you can figure out. But if somebody is dead and gone, you can't figure that out. Like what's the value of life to people
Yeah.
nowadays in the United States? And I get politics, I understand that, but still life, right? Life. So y'all could chime in from that, and then we can go over some stats and some of the ways that it impacted. And you all, the financial gurus, definitely talk about it from your businesses and your areas.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely an impact, when you talk about it from a financial standpoint. But like I had brought up earlier, you're saying that people should, want to preserve life over anything else, right? But like I said, there are some people who still don't believe it's real, still don't think COVID is real. So they are living in a mindset like it's not a problem, it's not an issue. So guess what? They're forging ahead with everyday life. And if they're running businesses, requiring people to come in, if they have kids, telling their kids to go to school, some people are still in that mindset that it's not a real big problem and it's not that bad because I mean, literally, I still see people saying, oh, well, if you catch COVID, 99% of people recover from it, So they're using stats and numbers in order to fit their narrative. So some people aren't even thinking about like they're jeopardizing people because they don't believe it's real. So, so when people like that, that's dangerous and it's scary. But we have to be real about it that people are out there like that who think this is real.
Yeah,
So,
yeah,
I respect everyone's decision as to whether or not they want to get the vaccine or not get the vaccine. Um, and that's to each individual. But when we look at things as a whole, and from what I can hear, just even in conversations with family and some friends who have elected not to get the vaccination, their reason behind it, these conspiracy theories and things of that nature, fear from, experiments that happened governmental wise, decades ago and things of that nature. Uh, that mindset is still there, whereas somehow it's supposed to be some sort of way to suppress the minorities in a sense. I hear a lot of that thought process. To me, um, it's a little ridiculous, but again, everyone has their own opinion. But when it comes to the children, and no matter which way you go, whether I mean they can't be vaccinated for number one, whether their parents are going to choose to or not, they are the most vulnerable. So why put our babies in a vulnerable state by having them go back when we can, advance the technologies to have it where they're being able to learn online. Yes, they're going to be emotionally, they can't see their friends like they used to, they can't go outside and physically play. But again, back to having them here on earth
mm-hmm.
versus we can work with dealing with the mindset and the depression, the anxiety of not being socially able to connect with their friends. That's a temporary to me versus the existence. So you know I think for me I just pray for our children and our next generation. I'm going to continue with prayer every day because it's really bad. It's really bad for them, and my heart just goes out. So it's a lot. It's very stressful, and I think that right now we're actually uh, reverting back, if you ask me, with these Delta variants and the numbers and the things of such. Um, I mean, just from the areas that I've been in what, two states. Tomorrow will be the third state since leaving last week from Virginia. I've been in Tennessee. I'm here in Augusta, Georgia now, and I'm in these establishments, and it's just so casual,
Mhm.
no mask. It's I'm going into the establishments and they have the sanitized station set up, but there's no sanitizer in it. So
Mhm.
it's like they're forgetting. Oh well, and I don't know.
Yeah, and so like last week, or I don't, when was I on vacation? The week before last, I don't know. It just seemed like my vacation went too fast. But I was at Master Nutton, and they had signs that said if you have been vaccinated, you don't need to wear a mask. How the heck? Like, and don't nobody had a card or information stuck on their forehead. So you're going with the honest system, like throughout. So of course I'm fully vaccinated, but I had my mask on everywhere except for like when I was in quarters. Like me and my niece, we played basketball and it was a huge gym. One person was all the way at the other end, so I had my mask off doing that.
Of
Um,
course.
at the pool, mask on, and I was just like, I ain't getting in the water. I was like, so started like paying attention to various things, but that, I mean, it really threw me off.
Yeah.
Even my spa treatment, mask on, mask on, mask on, and it was just like how you. The thing is, you cannot tell. Like, it's no way. It's nothing a brand or anywhere visibly that you can tell. So you're expecting people just to go off of the honor system, which is not the best thing when it's something as serious as this and it impacts other people's health. You know what I mean? Like,
Mhm.
I was surprised at that, and had I known that, I probably would not have gone there. So I was just like, that's crazy. But it's so many other things. So from an economic standpoint, I know like the impacts of everything that happened. So if we go back and start thinking about the shortfalls, and they were talking about the possibility of this happening all over again,
Yeah.
but like, remember how the toilet paper,
Mhm.
water, disinfectant, disinfectant, all of the various things that we were so used to every day, like it was gone. So I understand from an economic standpoint that these are the things that will happen. That was horrible for us. But again, I would rather have somebody to be alive and the chances of them living and being okay and safe than to be sure that I have toilet paper and paper towels and all of that thing. So it's all about like the weighing out of it and the disruption of supplies. Like,
Mhm.
took forever to get something. Like when it first started off, like poor little small businesses and other
Yeah.
businesses and other things. So many things were getting lost in the mail because of the delays with shipping. So I do get the economic downfall of the thing, but at the end of the day, all of these things that we can add up, none of them is more valuable than life to me. None of them whatsoever. We can talk about globally how it impacted with all of the things from China. All of these things, I get it, and with all due respect, none of them adds up. It's like, okay, do you want to make sure you have tissue? Want to make sure your stuff coming on time, or do you want to live? So I go with living. I go with living. So yeah.
Mhm.
So definitely with the impacts of all of the stuff that we went through. I get it. I get
Yeah.
it.
No, yeah, because you brought up a good point. Yeah, the supplies, like of just basic things, are now being affected again because a lot of shipping cargoes are stuck in ports because they can't move. Because guess what? People have gotten sick and can't work. So it's like, hello, if we do what we need to do to combat COVID, people can go and back to their jobs. But we keep like not doing what we need to do to get this thing under control. So guess what? It's just spiraling out again. And we're gonna get to the point where once again we're gonna be short on products because people can't go to work. It's like people are out who can't work in factories or warehouses and things of that nature. People are thinking, oh, it's just affecting new car sales. No, I mean, like plastic. We use plastic for everything. So now there's becoming a shortage in plastic. So that will affect the economy because if people are sick, guess what? They can't work. And if you can't work, then you can't make money.
Right.
So, and if you die, then it's over again. You have less people who can work. So, shouldn't we be combating what the issue is and the common denominator, which is the pandemic, and get that under control first? But
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm gonna say this one thing. It might be a little bit petty, but I gotta say it. So the cost of getting your nails done because of the supplies.
mhm.
Like when I first went, I was like, "No, take it off." I was like, "Take it off." I'm
Okay.
joking, but the price like just totally went up. To I don't know the calculation of what percentage, but it was extremely high. I was like, "No, I need a breakdown." Normally, I'm cool like with it. A little something going up, I expected, but it went up like a whole boost. So I'm like, I don't even need to get my I still don't need to get my nails done. So I'm like, I'm saving even more from that. But it's ridiculous how like some things are impacted.
Mhm.
Um, but that's again, that's not an important factor. Our lives are the most important factor through all of these things that is going on. So as you said, Sakajuwe, focusing energy, focusing time, focusing money on
Yeah.
how can we improve the digital, the virtual learning. How can we make this better? How can we answer or address the issues that the teachers are having? How can we make little Johnny and little John have more fun in an entertaining way so that when they are removed from the environment of their classroom, that we try to get some people to think about that in a creative way to add that fun aspect to it. Not being because they're overwhelmed and bring them back into the school. And now look what we have put the children in. Look what they're facing. And now look at the impacts of the parents. And it is only September the 13th. We aren't even like some people may have been in school for a month, if that,
It's
but
that. Yeah.
other people are just starting. Like New York just started. Our children just start. So it's just the whole aspect and the rundown. It's just like what were they thinking? Like what were they
Mhm.
thinking?
Mhm.
And Sonda says people need to get vaccinated and stop making excuses. Period. Yes, people are contracting the vaccine that's vaccinated, but they're not dying. And Kevin, my nail guy prices are still the same. Yes, send me Kevin's number because everybody else has tremendously went up. And so you all may remember my cousin Sonda, where back she was on the show because she had COVID. And she explained and talked about her experiences when we had Cherie and all of the other ones who came on talking about the seriousness and the first hand of this thing. And I know so many people who have it, who have had it. And when
Mhm.
they describe like how it felt, like it was like their breath was snatched away from them and they were grasping to go. I was just like, oh my God. And like I openly share, I have a history of chronic asthma. So it's like no games. And Kaiser Permanente, like y'all can say whatever y'all want to say about them. I like the number of tests that they have been my friend. Every time I go in a situation where it's like more than four people, like when I went out to eat with my staff, I went to New York. It was a small intimate gathering. Came back from Massanutten. Every time I do something or come, I go get me a test and I go in quarantine for a couple of days because I'm not trying to play any games whatsoever. So
Mhm.
I think that we just need to take responsibility. And again, I'm vaccinated and to each his own, no pressure or what have you, but you should be, if you are not, I think you should be very mindful.
Mhm.
Because like let's really like be transparent about this and be realistic. The government may have been a part of the cause why people don't trust it. First of all, like I work for FDA, so I know how long it takes for a vaccine to be approved, for a drug to be approved. So when they first was saying it, I didn't get it. I didn't get it. I didn't get my vaccine until May. I got my first one and then I got my second one in June. And it's because of some of the various things. Like I was like, no, FDA doesn't approve. And that's because I'm a 25-year FDAer and I learned these things from sitting by the scientists. So just imagine somebody not even being an FDAer and the public. And like Janice said, the stuff that happened in the past, like you don't know. And then they were so funny with these memes. Like, what if 10 years from now, everybody with the vaccine, they would have like little crippling things or different things like that. But like because of the severity of it, and you're seeing what people are going through, I'm like, had to be vaccinated. So let me see. Contracting the virus. Sorry, I'm angry. Calm down. I know it's serious, and because of what you and your family, like several people, Sandra. I mean, it's not family too, but your immediate, your mother, your sister, and all of those things, and your mother. Like, oh my God! Like, thank God for her healing miracle. I pray for her every day. Marcella Stress says, I thank God my case was mild, June 2020, but my mom's case was severe last May, June 2020, at the age of 82. She is a miracle. I remember talking to you and praying for you, Marcella, because I was telling you of the miracle and the testimony of my aunt. And just, yeah, I don't even want to go back to that memory. And Shay says, yes, my youngest daughter was quarantined by the second week of school. I feel they rushed opening school, but I'm taking precautions. We're getting weekly tests and self quarantine if we go to any gathering. Exactly. So it is like you put them in school. Did anybody do worst case scenario? And like, forgive me because that's my job. Like, pretty much, I'm a strategist, so I always got to go through the SWOT analysis, and I always go through the opportunities, but focus heavily on the threat. So I'm always thinking of like worst case scenario, and yeah, we're pretty much like headed. We're bad. We're pretty much one step away from the worst case scenario, and I'm like, what were they thinking? Who was it? Makes no sense to me. It really doesn't make any sense to me whatsoever. It doesn't.
Yeah.
So any more thoughts in terms of like the so that was really the economic part, but you see how we keep going back to the school children because this is like really impacting them. It's impacting us as well and everybody that you come in contact with. So one thing about my agency and a lot of federal government agencies, although like Biden did mandate the vaccine because it wasn't for all federal government employees at one time. It was a lot of hospitals and things like that. They have mandated it for federal workers, or I don't even think the testing option is there anymore. But luckily for us, I have been working virtually since March of last year, and I don't see any I don't see us doing so, but I work in human resource management. I'm not a scientist. So, of course, there are some people in the lab that have different rules. I start really reading all the rules because I was like, oh, in person don't apply to me, but there are some rules. But I just think it's crazy in terms of that. So, any other comments that you all want to talk about? Because I really purposely pulled them all in together. So, economics, education, existency, and of course we talked about the efficiency or lack of. It started with an E, and I didn't want to throw the L and put lack of, so I'm trying to keep it in order. But any other things that you all want to talk about?
Well, I just wanted to just briefly mention the impact of the pandemic as a whole on the economy with regards to real estate. And again, this is something that households, people working, being forced to work from home. Um, you know, the real estate industry, no one anticipated or even thought that it would be where this would be such a seller's market and bidding wars out there. Um, the thing when the pandemic happened, it was like a scare as to, will the economy as far as mortgages and things of that nature go back to the 2007, 2008. But that was because of the low interest rates and whatnot. That was not the case at all. And, people have such great equity in their homes there was a lot of, since I got to work from home now, I need a bigger house and things of that nature. So they were selling to upgrade in a sense to accommodate, everyone being at home. We had a lot of that going on. But again, I think that the economy, which from that aspect is doing very well, is definitely going to plateau. But then now it's going to be, whereas it's going to slowly change into perhaps the buyer's market because of the fact of these mortgage moratoriums being lifted. Uh, and you're going to see more, I don't want to say foreclosures per se, but I feel like perhaps more short sales in a
Mm-hmm.
sense, or sales to quickly because they cannot pay back their mortgages, that were delayed as far as the payments. Um, it's just a crazy, 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 crazy time, and it's not over. It's just not over. And I think a lot of decisions that were made were in actuality to stimulate the economy, but not really thinking about the overall long term effect, especially when it comes to our children. And that's the unfortunate for me.
Yeah, that's my in a nutshell. That's my whole thought. Like the lack of efficiency, right? Like it's too many times where people rush to do things. And don't get me wrong, sometimes I tend to be on the opposite end because I will drill, and sometimes I miss opportunities. However, like in something like as serious as this,
Mm-hmm.
how could you rush to do this? And it's not just like it was COVID-19 and it just stopped there. The Delta variant.
Mm-hmm.
Like that was an extra piece on top of everything that's going on. And not getting technical, but when you understand vaccines and how they work and how they project to prepare for them, it's a whole different story and it makes it get a little teeny bit scarier. So we're still dealing with COVID-19. The Delta variant is hitting upon. So you hear them talking about the booster, right?
Yep.
Same when you understand the flu shot. When people be like, when you get the flu shot early on, that's because they project it based on the trends and all the other things that come our way. If you wait until the last piece, waiting to see how it goes or whatever, you're normally like past the stage when another level or a second round of the flu, which is different from the first one. So when they make these vaccines, they make them specifically on what is going on, right?
The
So
current trend,
now
yeah.
you're
Yep.
going to hear all the talks and the discussion about the boosters. So if someone is just getting their shot first, like you can't get a booster without getting the shot. So if
Mm-hmm.
someone just get the first, so it's going to be so many different dynamics of what is going on. So my thing is, why couldn't they just shut everything down to let it be like cleaned out, let it go past and let it go through? They started letting people out and so many different other things, but I'm gonna let you all do your last minute closeout and going around and just wanna touch on a couple of comments. So um Sonda, my grandbaby school sent a letter home today about a child having the virus. So scary. They may need to shut down the school. So yes, we talked about that early on. Almost every school has had at least a letter sent home about somebody being impacted, or for sure every city and every state. I might be going a little bit further and I don't have any stats on every school, but that's just me. I feel it in my bones. No, I'm playing. But every state has had like instances, and they went down and started writing down all of them. I've been looking to rent a house, started looking a few weeks ago, and the prices to rent is crazy. Is this due to COVID? I'm going to stay in my apartment much bigger until I'm ready to buy.
Well, yeah, it's all about supply and demand type scenario. So the demand for rentals has increased, and there's low supply, meaning limited availability. So that's going to be why the prices have definitely increased. So that's whenever it and again, when the supply is low and the demand is high, prices are going to automatically increase, just the same as with gas. So that's why they're seeing rental increases. And landlords, actually, some of them, they are definitely, well, it's a business decision, but they're going to raise their rents to accommodate and take advantage of those increases. You're going to have some that may appeal to the individual, or are in a state where they don't have to raise, and will work with their tenants. But it's all a supply and demand, so that's what you're seeing. If you are waiting to buy, if that's is that what they said, they're waiting to buy?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
Mhm.
definitely agree with you. If you can wait, because of the fact that if you try to buy now, yes, the rates are low and they're still very enticing, but you're going to go into a bidding war, and
Mhm.
you're going to be paying probably more, because of the fact that you may find that house that you really like, but there's going to be multiple offers and you've got to have it. So you're going to increase your, amount that your offer. So if you can, I would say wait until, definitely second quarter of 2022 perhaps, and revisit at that time frame wherever you are with the local realtor, and look at some of the options then. So
Awesome, awesome, awesome sauce. So the last comment that I'm gonna read, and then Sakajuwe, I'll jump to you, go back to you, Janice, so we can do our closeouts. Jackie Davis, who is a school teacher, she says the children are getting it from adults. It's just asinine. It's about money. They don't care about the whole person. Our parents didn't know what were in the vaccinations. Look at us. We made it to 50 safely and healthy for the most part. So yeah,
this is
you're absolutely
right.
right. You're absolutely right. So yeah, it's so much that we can say, but I'm with Sonda. The whole topic gets me very heated because it's just like we don't have to be right here. We don't have to be right here. So, Saka Javier, let's go to you for close out. Tell the people how they can follow you, find you, and all that great stuff.
Yes, so they can follow me on Facebook at either Sakajuwia Fanning or Fanning Financial Group LLC. I'm also on Instagram as Sakajuwia Fanning. So yeah, and I'm on LinkedIn as well too as Sakajuwia Fanning. So you can follow me there, and I'll also put my information in the comments. And like I said previously, I do offer free consultation for clients, one-on-ones. So if you have questions about your finances and getting back on the right foot, just let me know. They are confidential as well too. So once again, Sakajuwia Fanning, Fanning Financial Group, LLC.
Thank you. And Janice Bowes. I saw your picture from you this weekend hanging out with the tankers, but go ahead.
Yeah, that was pretty amazing. Wonderful people, very down to earth, folks, very insightful. It was a wonderful experience. I'm excited. I can't talk too much, but I'm excited for some things that's going to be happening. I prayed upon it. I kind of got out of my fear and comfort and just went for it. And yeah, I'm pretty excited. So God has been great. But just to let everyone know that I'm a licensed realtor. I'm a real estate investor, and I do investments. I am a licensed realtor in Virginia. Um, so feel free, if you want to reach out to me for any type of real estate information that you may need. I can assist you with your real estate needs. You can catch me on Instagram at Janice Bowles, Boles, Facebook Janice Bowles. I'll put it in the comments as well. And my business page, with my business is B Premier Ventures. But I have referral partners that I work with in the DMV area. Actually, the brokerage that I work for, CTI Real Estate, we are licensed in Maryland as well. So definitely you can reach out to me for any type of insight for your real estate needs and investment as well.
Yes, yes, yes. And Shanae, as I mentioned at the beginning of the show, Shanae Robinson is our other partner. She is actually in North Dakota celebrating her son's birthday. But Shanae also helps with credit repair and all other things in terms of the beginning step of getting it fixed right. So she'll be back with us next month. And thank you all, everyone, for tuning into the show. We have some great shows that are coming up. One, my nutritionist has their date settled, and it is October the 5th. So she's going to be, or the first Monday in October. She's going to be coming on and she's going to be sharing and talking about some little tips. And I will share with you all my tips of shaving my 19 pounds. And I have to weigh myself.
I know, that's great.
But I'm excited. I'm super, super excited. It's every day, like general things, because y'all know a girl still got to eat. I was like, don't starve me. So I still eat and I do all of these very things, but she helped me with craving my appetite. That was one big thing because I'm a snacker, and cutting off the time that I eat, and of course, plenty of water. We're also upcoming on the show. We're going to have a leadership show, which is going to be phenomenal. I'm looking forward to that. It's going to help me to celebrate my 30th year as a civil servant in October. And then we have so many other great shows that will be coming up. The 9/11 show is going to be a bit emotional, but we're going to make sure that we have it so that we can honor and hear the voices of some people who have gone through some things. So again, thank you everyone for tuning in. You can follow us. We are Let's Do It on all social media platforms, Facebook as well as Instagram. You can follow me, Ladraine Howard Peterson, on Facebook, and Do It Delivers on Instagram. So sign up for our YouTube channel if you haven't already done so. I just uploaded all of the videos to make sure that they're up to date. We had some phenomenal past series. So thank you all, ladies. Thanks everyone for tuning in. Jackie Davis, Sonda Hickman, Major Bandy, he had his name switched up, and Keyshawn Hardy, my nephew. We also have Shay Living Life, my family, Marcella Stratch, and Minister Andre. Prayers up for you and your wife, Livette Claiborne, Childhood Sandbox. Anybody else on? If you're not my friend, I can't see who you are. But thank you so much, and we will see you all next week.
Bye.